Every set to failure, grinding out reps until you physically can't move the weight, pushing past the burn. That's what separates the champions from the average lifters, right? Walk into any gym and you'll see people training to absolute failure on every single set. Because that's what bodybuilders do, that's what gets results. No pain, no gain. But here's the truth that nobody's telling you. Training to failure on every set is probably destroying your progress. And the bodybuilders you're trying to copy, they have very specific reasons for training that way. Reasons that don't apply to you. Today, I'm going to explain why bodybuilders train to failure, why you probably shouldn't, and what you should do instead. This could be the key to breaking through your plateau. Why bodybuilders train to failure? Let's start by understanding why professional bodybuilders grind every set to complete failure. Reason 1, they're enhanced. Let's be real. Professional bodybuilders are using performance-enhancing drugs. Testosterone, growth hormone, and other compounds drastically improve recovery. When you're on gear, you can train to failure multiple times per week and still recover. Your body repairs faster. Your muscles adapt quicker. Training to failure becomes sustainable. For a natural lifter, not so much. Reason 2. It's their full-time job. Bodybuilders train once or twice a day, eat perfectly timed meals, nap, get massages, and sleep 9 hours a night. Recovery is their job. You work 8 to 10 hours, deal with stress, maybe sleep 6 to 7 hours, and have 1,000 other responsibilities. Your recovery capacity isn't even close. Reason 3, they need maximum stimulus. When you're already massive and near your genetic limit, you need extreme stimulus to keep growing. Training to failure provides that. But if you're not a 250-pound mass monster, you don't need that level of intensity to grow. Submaximal training works just fine. Reason 4, periodization and strategic failure. Many bodybuilders don't actually train to failure year-round. They cycle it. They'll use failure sparingly during some phases and avoid it completely during others. But social media shows you the highlights, the intense failure sets, not the months of moderate training in between. The cost of training to failure. Now let's talk about what happens when you train to failure every set, every workout. Cost 1, massive fatigue accumulation. Training to failure creates disproportionate fatigue compared to stopping 1 to 2 reps short. One set to failure creates as much fatigue as 2 to 3 submaximal sets. Do this on every exercise, every workout, and you'll accumulate crushing fatigue. Your performance tanks, your recovery suffers, your progress stalls. Cost 2, increased injury risk. When you're grinding out that last rep with terrible form, your joints and connective tissues are getting hammered. Your technique breaks down, compensation patterns emerge. Over time, this leads to injuries, tendinitis, joint pain, muscle strains. You end up forced to take time off, losing all the gains you were chasing. Cost 3, diminished performance on later sets. If you go to absolute failure on your first set, your second and third sets will suffer dramatically. You might lose 30 to 50% of your reps on subsequent sets. You end up doing less total volume because you torched yourself on set 1. Cost 4, CNS Burnout. Your central nervous system gets fried from constant max effort training. You feel unmotivated. Training feels harder than it should. You start dreading workouts. This isn't laziness. It's your nervous system waving a white flag. What the research actually shows. Here's what science says about training to failure. Finding 1. Failure isn't necessary for growth. Multiple studies show that training 1 to 3 reps, shy of failure, produces the same muscle growth as training to complete failure, with significantly less fatigue. You get 90 to 95% of the growth stimulus, with maybe 50% of the fatigue cost. Finding 2. Failure. Works better for isolation. For isolation exercises like curls, lateral raises, and leg extensions, going closer to failure seems beneficial. The injury risk is low and form doesn't break down as much. For heavy compounds like squats and deadlifts, failure is dangerous and counterproductive. Finding 3. Occasional failure can help. Taking sets to failure occasionally, maybe 1 set per muscle group per week, can be useful for testing limits and ensuring you're pushing hard enough. But every set, every workout, unnecessary and detrimental. Finding 4. Proximity to failure matters more than absolute failure. Getting close to failure, 1 to 3 reps in reserve, seems to be the sweet spot, close enough to stimulate growth, far enough to manage fatigue and maintain performance. The smarter approach. So what should you actually do? Here's the evidence-based strategy. Strategy 1. The RIR system. Use reps in reserve. RIR. Instead of going to failure, stop 2 to 3 reps before failure on most sets. If you could do 12 reps max, stop at 9 to 10. You get nearly the same growth stimulus with much better recovery. Strategy 2. Save failure for last sets. If you want to use failure, save it for the final set of an exercise. Do your first 2 to 3 sets with RIR, then crush the last one. You get the intensity without sabotaging total volume. Strategy 3. Use failure on isolation, not compounds. Go closer to failure on bicep curls, tricep extensions, and lateral raises. Keep squats, deadlifts, and heavy pressing 2 to 3 reps from failure. Safety first, especially on movements that can injure you. Strategy 4. Cycle intensity. Some weeks, train harder and closer to failure. Other weeks, back off and leave more reps in reserve. This prevents fatigue accumulation while still providing periodic high-intensity stimulus. Strategy 5. Listen to your body. If you're constantly sore, performance is dropping, and motivation is tanking. You're probably training too close to failure too often. Pull back, leave more in the tank. Watch your progress improve. When failure makes sense, there are situations where training to failure is actually smart. Situation 1. Testing. Maxes. Once every 4 to 6 weeks, test your limits. See how many reps you can actually do. This helps you gauge progress and recalibrate your RIR. Situation 2. Final set of isolation. Work that last set of curls or leg extensions. Sure, take it to failure. Low injury risk, high muscle stimulus. Situation 3. Advanced techniques. Drop sets, rest pause sets, and other intensity techniques require failure. Use these sparingly for a boost. Situation 4. Deload weeks. Ironically, backing off from failure regularly allows you to use it strategically when it matters without burning out. The natural lifter. Reality. Here's the hard truth. You're not a professional bodybuilder. You don't recover like one. You don't have the pharmaceutical assistance. You don't have unlimited time and resources. Training to failure every set is a strategy designed for people operating under completely different conditions than you. You need a sustainable approach that balances stimulus with recovery. That means training hard, but smart. Push close to failure, but not into it every time. Save absolute failure for strategic moments. Prioritize volume and consistency over intensity at all costs. If you want training advice designed for real people with real lives, not pro bodybuilders on gear, hit that subscribe button right now. We're giving you science-based strategies that actually work for natural lifters every single week. Stop copying the pros and start training smart. Subscribe now. The brutal truth, training to failure feels productive. It feels intense. It feels like you're leaving everything in the gym, but feelings don't equal results. Results come from consistent, intelligent training that you can sustain long term. Bodybuilders can train to failure because of their unique circumstances. You probably can't, and that's okay. Train hard, push yourself, but leave a little in the tank, recover, come back stronger. That's how you build muscle for the long haul. Stop training to failure on every set. Stop copying strategies from enhanced athletes with unlimited recovery. Leave 1 to 3 reps in reserve on most sets. Save failure for last sets of isolation exercises. Cycle your intensity. Prioritize long-term sustainability over short-term intensity. You'll build more muscle, feel better, stay healthier, and actually enjoy training. The goal isn't to destroy yourself in the gym, it's to stimulate growth you can recover from. Train smarter, not just harder. Drop a comment. Do you train to failure every set, or do you leave reps in the tank? Let's hear your approach. Now go train hard, but not too hard.